Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. I am Patrina Wisdom, author, speaker, and movement leader, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing one of my closest friends, my soul sisters, Stephanie Banka from Ila Blu. And she's going to tell you a little bit more about what she does, but I want to tell you a little bit more about who she be, because this woman has such a heart, and she's so creative, and she's such an alchemist. She can turn something that seems like nothing into something absolutely beautiful, just completely transform it. And I'm excited for her to share a little bit of her work with you and who she is. So tell us a little bit about you first, and then, because you have a very interesting, background, and then also tell us a little bit about your work.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. What a pleasure, what an honor. I think you summed it up really well at brunch a couple weeks ago when we had the little paper envelope scenario, and you said, I'm just going to call you MacGyver. So I have a lot of angles, let's just say. I'm Stephanie. I don't know, what do I say about myself? I am an alchemist. Yes. I am a creative. I do have a huge heart, and sometimes, if it's possible, to a flaw. I'm learning how to keep my heart a little closer to my chest, in a way that allows me to be more loving on a grander scale. So, and that also, I would say, is definitely partly in partnership with you and in some of the work that we've done, because like in so many cases in life, often we come together to support each other's, I don't like the word deficit, but our sort of like our, maybe not limitations, but there's weak points and strong points, and I think that ours mirror and or complement each other's very, very, very well. So that for me has been really helpful, to have somebody in my life who can hold space for that, but also call me on that in a way that is respectful and honoring, and hopefully I extend the same to you. So
Absolutely.
It's been great. We have a wonderful friendship, and we have had a wonderful collaboration so far when we decided to step into that. And I've loved it. Some of our collaboration, obviously, initially we came together through a mutual acquaintance and friend, and then it just blossomed. And we have connection, obviously, through the jewelry and the adornment, because we both love jewelry, and I make jewelry, so I get to adorn you.
You do more than make jewelry. Let's just pause right there.
That's true. I'm sorry.
She does more than make jewelry. So she is an alchemist in so many different ways, and one of the ways that she does that is through jewelry. And so she's actually wearing one of her pieces now, but part of what connected us is that she was creating this spiritual jewelry, and every time I saw her, she had on all these amazing pieces, and I would be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So she became kind of my custom jewelry pimp.
This is true.
And from there, it evolved, because the more I learned about your process for creating that jewelry, the more intrigued I was. And so tell them a little bit about the process, because these pieces come to our Pure Abundance retreat every year. By the way, we're in Belize right now.
Woo, woo.
And she is one of my facilitators. But these pieces come to this retreat every year as an offering to our attendees, and really as a symbol of how far they've come and the transformation that they've had during their week with us in Belize. So tell them a little bit about your process, because it's very unique.
Yes, and to also, to your point, we not only are able to utilize these pieces to show the growth and expansion of our time in Belize, but then we take that energy with us out into the world after Belize, so that we can continue to anchor all that we have invited, explored, and worked on while we're here, and anchor that into the pieces that we wear. So my work is always infused with intention, and I do believe in the power of intention and the power of when we want to do something around transformation, the clarity that comes behind it, but also that there are natural elements in the world that represent or symbolize any ailment, goal, creative desire, relationship desire you could have, any sickness, deficit, strength, anything can be represented in the mineral or rock kingdom, if you will, and or the plant kingdom. So, and metal world probably too. So I'm able to combine and incorporate those ingredients together to create, if you will, recipes perhaps, or, I'm not going to use the word prescriptions because I'm not a doctor, but they are, in a sense, crystal or rock or adornment prescriptions, in that I'm able to hear people's story, know what they're working on, and then align what they're working on with the pieces in a way that can contain, if you will, and also
amplify.
radiate and
Yes.
amplify the energy of those dreams, desires, and goals.
Absolutely.
And so, and have had literally, to me, phenomenal success means that people have been, for me, in this capacity, phenomenal success means that people have been able to achieve what they intended to achieve. And
100%. You
what-
made me a partnership piece.
Oh, that's true.
And it wasn't long after she made that partnership piece that I go, look at that face. She's
I
like a
forgot.
child. Yes, it works. Yes.
Oh my God,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
Okay, that was her bracelet
When I
birthday.
decided that I was finally ready to call into a partner, we had a session.
Yeah.
She created this incredible piece for me, a bracelet, carnelian,
Yep.
and like a bunch of other stones.
Yep.
And it wasn't too much longer after that that I actually attracted my partner.
Yeah.
She's had the same experience with fertility.
Yeah.
And a number of other things.
Yes, yeah.
And the thing I want to point out is it's not just through the jewelry. Okay, it's not just through the jewelry. So it's not the medium of art. It's her. It's her. She's a flippin' magician. Okay, because you also do this with the journals, with the journaling. So
do.
tell the audience a little bit about the journal.
That's true. And I think I've done it with food.
And with food.
Yeah, and with food. And
Anything
so-
she touches turns to.
Well, within
Yeah.
those three categories,
Okay.
food, jewelry, or journal, like that work is going to be amazing. I think I stay real close to there because it'll turn into gold. If I go out of there, it might turn into something
Stay in
else.
your bubble.
So we're going to stay in my little bubble. Although my bubble has developed, and actually all three of those things are an extension of my life journey and my healing. And
Right.
so what I've done is gone in, learned them, and then learned how to make them translatable for folks who have not had the experience. So the food is only so accessible to a point because not everybody's ready to make those changes, right? Based on their wellness or their health. So that felt limiting to some extent. The jewelry is only accessible to a point because of potentially my price point, or because some people don't wear stuff like that,
Right.
or they don't get that it can work that way.
Yeah.
The journaling piece is the one that kind of fills the gap in the middle. The creative journaling and the imagery and the visioning fills the space for people who might not be able to access those. They can access the journaling aspects and that creativity in a very portable, right here way. And so
Yes.
you don't have to be mobile to do it. Like even if you're in a wheelchair, you can do this. Even if you are struggling with mental illness, you can do this. Even if you can't read, you can do this. So even if you are living in poverty, you can do this. And so this has eliminated some of the barriers for me in terms of the inclusion that I desire
Yes.
with the work and the magic. And so that's what's been beautiful about the journaling experience. And through working with Katrina, I've been really blessed because she eventually, when we were making our friendship and I was keeping my distance for whatever reason, because I was maybe worried about getting close again to somebody or all of those things, you stayed after me in a good way. And since I wouldn't come to her over and over and over again, which I know you're not a woman who takes rejection lightly, in the sense that if you're rejected, you're just done. Like there's just that's not for me, and you
Yes.
didn't give up on me. And so I'm so grateful for that, because where would we be? I don't even know. Like for me, I don't know where I'd be, but it wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And so Katrina actually attended one of my vision journaling workshops with her beautiful daughter and my other soul sister and soul daughter. Well, you're not really my daughter, but you're close. Jordan came to the event, and so she brought Jordan, and they both came to do my vision journaling. And then you went on to finish your homework and be one of my first students to ever finish the entire journal, because we did
I'm a
it for
star
the big journal,
student.
because she's a star
Thank you.
student, one of the only, just like we are in dance class, which we're really looking forward to today. And so
And that was where we.
That's where
is where I intended the Pure Abundance Retreat.
she knew she was
Yes.
going to do this. You knew you wanted to do this international piece. You kind of had a sense of where, because you'd already come to
Yes.
Belize. And then I was like, well, we both at the same time were confessing our goals to the group. And I was like, I'm going to be an international retreat
Yes,
facilitator. And you're like, well, I'm going to have, and we're like, whoa, we got to. And then, fast forward, you do your life. And then 4 months, she's like, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, well, she probably needs jewelry. Something happened, because she breaks jewelry a lot. And so I'm like, what'd she break now?
Stop at me, I
She
can't help
probably
it.
popped it off. I'm going to have to go make something else. So I show up with my notebook, ready to take notes on what are we working on now. You got the partner. Jordan's leaving Friday. We had a lot of things going on. I think it was then. And maybe earlier. Anyway, it turned out that she was asking me to come teach what I had taught, because on the heels of that, she was telling me that she had booked the space. It was either I've booked the space or I'm going to, within the next 72 hours. It was happening. And this was definite. And now it was, you got to come show the ladies how to do this because it works. And so that for me was one more confirmation of the magic, because if you do the homework, this is what happens. We end up here and we now have the Pure Abundance Retreat. And so those confirmations, they come through the jewelry, they come through the journaling. You know, when someone has a baby that's been trying to, spend 150 grand on IVF and hasn't gone there and then has a baby, that's the magic. And so as much as it's me, it's not me in the sense that I have the glory of being a vessel for something that is so much greater than myself, and that I've been able to articulate through symbology and these elements. I have been able to articulate a physical form, if you will, for these intentions.
Yes.
And I think that's where the magic
It's
really
an
happens.
outlet.
Yeah.
It's an outlet, and it's a new way of doing manifestation work.
Yeah.
That's not just vision boarding or journaling.
Correct.
So I think I know that it's very powerful work, and I'm so grateful that you're able to come share this at my retreat. Now almost 4 years in a row.
Yeah, we'll be there.
And on and into
on and on.
infinity and beyond. So what I want to do is I want to translate this to our listeners, right? The viewers who are watching. If you have someone out there that has some unrealized dreams or goals that they're looking to achieve, or maybe parts of themselves that they recognize that they're really, really good at but don't see in themselves what other people see in them, is there anything you can offer that, could be a first step for them?
Okay, so what would I say for first steps? I think one of the first things that you can do is just recognize and acknowledge that you have identified an area that you would like to make change, and to be with it. So you want to make a career change. You want to make a lifestyle change. You want to do something like that. I think once you be with it for a moment, I would then say to sit with it, and then to energetically ask, like if you have to write it down or you have to speak it to the universe, or maybe you just think it in a prayer thought, what's the next step? Like because you know what, maybe it's lifestyle and career and this and this, and it's like way too much at once. So let's just scale back a little bit, even though I don't like limitation. Let's like bring it to a place where we can clarify and simplify to the point where we have something to work with. I would say get your hands moving if you don't know, whether that means writing for you initially, or get yourself a box of crayons and literally just start making marks on pages, repeating, like repetitive marks over and over. Through that, you will begin to hear or feel, I think, your next steps. And through that also, you will find different levels of curiosity that you're having that will speak to the way that you can make these changes. So for some people it might be acupuncture, for some people it might be painting, for some people it might be swimming. It's really hard to find that out if you don't give yourself an opportunity to look for it. So one of my favorite ways of being quiet is being in a bookstore or being in a library and moving through sections and seeing what speaks to me. So if it's a tarot deck that jumps off the shelf at me, if it's a periodical that looks interesting, like a magazine that was about painting or poetry, or if it's something will speak to you. If you go to a bookstore or a library, you don't even have to buy anything, but there will be something, if you're listening and asking, or you ask me to listen, there'll be something there that reveals to you what category to take this next step in, or if you already have the specific category, what the next steps might be. I would also say, and for women in particular, and I think this is true for men too, and I can speak to them, but not maybe in the same way as I can to women having, like being a woman and experiencing that finding your way into a woman's community is a wonderful way. And I think that's because you said something about not everybody sees what we see in each other. This is why it's so important. One thing I learned a while ago is that I've actually never seen myself. I have seen a reflection of myself in a mirror multiple times. I have seen a photograph of myself multiple times. I have seen myself in this video format multiple times. This is not actually myself. This is this camera, two-dimensional, somewhat three-dimensional representation of myself. Who has seen me, however, is you.
Exactly.
And so
mirroring that back to you.
And so if you can get yourself into a situation in which you have individuals, not necessarily women, but it's helpful sometimes if you are a woman especially, where you give women the opportunity simply by your presence to mirror for you. And you know what? It becomes very clear. And for me, the way it becomes clear is through physical or physiological feelings. So when I know that there's work for me to do, I'll start getting a little feeling here that may be, I might start being defensive about something, or I may react to a trigger in either a defensive way or in a way that later I'm like, well, that didn't really make sense. What was that really about?
Yeah.
So I pay a lot of attention to the ways that I'm triggered and what is actually triggering me, because those triggers, as much as we don't like them, or we're like, well, I don't like her because she da 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 da, and I know and I heard and I da 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 da. Well, that's your work.
Right.
So, and at the same time, I really don't like being liked. I don't like being not liked. I don't like being, but I need to practice not being liked and liking it. But I don't like not being liked. And so for me, that's my work. And so rather than reading so hard into somebody's interpretation of me and catering so hard to someone's interpretation of me, I've got to recognize and really spend some time in those moments understanding or identifying for myself what's yours and what's mine in that. Yeah. Now, if it's my work, it's really easy to say that's your work, for one. I just want to say it's really easy to think it's someone else's work when it's really yours, because it's not comfortable. And so you get better and better at delineating that. And I've found just even, and for years now I've had the privilege of doing some of this work, but more specifically here through Pure Abundance, I've found that whether it's the facilitation here that I'm doing, or sometimes being an attendee also, and what I reap as beneficiary, that line has just confirmed and exercised and expanded these principles for me to the point where we had a little situation last year, because we're ladies and women. I'm itching. I'm sorry. And women will be women, and ladies will be ladies, and humans will be humans, and feelings get hurt. And so you can step on somebody's toe and not know you stepped on somebody's toe, and their toe is really hurting. Yeah. Now, if they don't tell you that you stepped on their toe, you don't have an opportunity to sort it out.
There's something powerful that happens in this space.
Yes.
This community space, where when those things happen, it's an opportunity for us to hold space for it, talk about it, clear it, and then move on with the tools to handle those same types of situations in the future.
Exactly.
So it's always a gift for all of us.
And it
so
works.
I totally appreciate you for being here and sharing yourself so openly, because I know this is a bit of an edge for you.
Yes.
So I honor you for that. I want to thank you for being here. We'll have to do this again, because we have so much more to talk about.
Thank you.
So I also want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Living Room Wisdom. I'm so happy that I was able to share my sister with you today. And make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Patrina Wisdom, and that you check back weekly for more inspiring interviews with inspiring, beautiful women just like this, right here on Living Room Wisdom. Namaste, and we'll see you next time.